everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Nikki aka Ada Canada, and in today's video I'm going to be answering one of the most asked questions recently. A lot of people have been asking me questions about the IELTS test requirements. Should they take it for immigration? Should they take it for studies? What should they do? IELTS, for those of you who don't know, is the English language testing system. So it's a test that you take, but it's mainly English. Usually Canadian schools and even Canadian immigration, they use it to determine your level of English. So how well can you speak, read, write, listen, basically just communicate in English. One of the most asked questions that I got recently was, should I take the IELTS if I'm applying to come into Canada to study? Should I take the IELTS if I'm applying as a PR under the Express Entry Scheme, the Federal Skilled Workers Scheme? And so there's a little bit of confusion that's going on with that, and that's why I'm making this video, just to clarify things. First of all, if you are interested in coming into Canada as a permanent resident, so that means you're applying for Express Entry, you are applying for Federal Skilled Workers, you want to be a landed immigrant when you come into Canada, then you must take the IELTS exam. You must take the IELTS exam, and I repeat, you must take the IELTS test if you want to immigrate to Canada via the Express Entry, because you will need it when you're trying to apply to get into the pool, and even when they're processing your documents in order to give you that landed visa. So that's that. On the other hand, if you're applying to come study in Canada, applying for admission, I would say that it depends on the school that you're applying to. There are some schools that are very adamant that no matter where you're coming from, as long as you are not coming from the United Kingdom, the United States, Australia, then you must take the IELTS exam. However, there are some other schools that recognize that there are other English-speaking countries out there besides the United Kingdom, Australia, and the United States, and so they grant exemptions or waivers to applicants that are coming from countries other than these countries that are generally known to speak English. So I took the liberty of going the extra mile to find out those schools that have no IELTS test results requirements for admission into their school, and these schools are Brock University in Ontario, University of Saskatchewan in Saskatchewan, Carleton University in Ontario, University of Winnipeg, University of Regina, Memorial University of Newfoundland, Concordia University, and University of Northern British Columbia. These 8 universities have no IELTS test results requirements if you are applying from an English-speaking country. Now, if we are going further, there are some schools that have an exemption list. An exemption list is basically a list of countries that the school recognizes as English speaking. So if you're coming to study in Canada and you're from any one of these countries in the exemption list, then the school is going to grant you an IELTS exemption, which means you do not need to take the IELTS exam and you do not need to send any of the test results if you have taken that IELTS exam. For example, a school like Brock University or the University of Northern British Columbia, those 2 schools have an exemption list. They have a list of countries whereby they do not need the IELTS test results from applicants coming from these countries. On the other hand, a school like Carleton University does not have an exemption list, but what they do state on their site is that you can be granted an exemption if you can prove that you studied in English, you studied in a country where the medium of instruction was English for 4 years at a post-secondary level. So usually you provide this proof through your transcripts and your degree certificate, and that is how Carleton University can grant you that IELTS exemption. As a prospective applicant, another way that you can seek for an exemption for IELTS if you're not sure if the school you're applying to will give you an exemption is by sending your program an email. That's the program that you're interested in, or the department or the faculty that you are interested in applying to. You can send them an email and tell them your story, tell them your name, where you're from, this is the program you're applying for, this is the intake that you're applying for, and you are coming from an English speaking country, you studied in English, you have your transcripts and your degree certificate as proof to show that you studied in English. Can they give you that exemption? exemption? Like, can I be granted an exemption from IELTS? So if you can send that email telling them that yes, you did study in English, then the decision to grant you that exemption is at the discretion of the school or the program or the faculty that you have sent that email to. So that's one way. So there are some schools that if you send that email, they will likely grant you that exemption because you're going to submit your transcripts anyway. So they are going to see that your transcripts are in English, and that's the way that they are going to prove that you studied in English, so they can grant you that exemption. There are some schools that do not accept if you send them that email. They still want proof. There are some other schools, on the other hand, that may ask you to provide a letter of attestation stating that you went to a school where the medium of instruction is English at a post-secondary level and you studied for a minimum of 3 to 4 years. Usually getting this letter of attestation falls on you, the prospective applicant. This is something that you need to go back to the school that you finished from, usually in the administration department or the registrar or someone in that administration department who can provide that letter of attestation stating that you're coming from an English speaking country, program that you studied at that school was delivered in English for however length of time that you were there in that school until you graduated, and you have transcripts to back up this claim. You can submit it to the school. That is if they ask for it. There are some schools that do not accept that letter of attestation. It all depends. Ultimately, if you're not sure if the school you're interested in applying to will grant you that exemption, you can simply just send them an email and they'll get back to you and decide on how to proceed, or decide on whether they're giving you the exemption or how they want you to prove that you can speak English. On another note, there are some schools that may not have the IELTS test result requirements for admission, but they have alternatives. So if you don't have the IELTS test results, you can provide any one of the alternatives. For example, Duolingo English test, there's TOEFL test of English as a foreign language, and there's also Pearson test of English. Those are the other 3 alternatives that some other schools might list. If you don't have IELTS, then if you have any of these other alternatives, then you can have the testing body submit them on your behalf as part of your admission requirements. Alright guys, so this is the end of this video. I hope that I was able to answer this question on IELTS test requirements. Please like this video, give it a thumbs up, share this video, most importantly subscribe to my channel for more videos like this, and turn on post notifications so that you never miss any time I upload. And with that, I'll see you guys in my next video. Stay safe. Bye. Stay in the morning.